podcast.
You guys hear me?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
I'm making pizza.
Pizza, yummy.
Y'all have to forgive me. I am so fucked up from being off Monday that I'm still thinking today is Wednesday, even though today is actually Thursday. And I just reminded my wife a little bit ago that today is Thursday when she was insisting it was Wednesday. So I'm gonna blame this on her. So I'm completely unprepared. I'll probably have to drop in and out, but yeah, I'm good.
The 10 worst songs to crack the top 40.
Yeah, I'm still fuzzy about whether I should have put The Cure on there, because The Cure is not traditionally a rock band per se, even though they were lumped in with alternative rock. So, I know it's a little bit of a stretch though, just a little bit, because they're not really known for more rockin' tunes,
So really after seeing some of the songs that were on there, I just really have just changed it to worst songs to crack the top 40. And you can pick on any genre you want to, which I did.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of folks. I'm sure there's at least a couple songs that made. Maybe is there at least one or two songs that made nearly everybody's list? And I'm probably going to be a little controversial here. I got Winds of Change by the Scorpions, a massive, huge hit when it dropped. Particularly because when it dropped, we were having some very heavy events going on around the world. I believe that's when the wall fell.
It was the fall of the Soviet Union.
Yeah,
you kind of cashed in on that, say.
And that's why I hate this song, because the Scorpions are a damn good band. I mean, they were amazing. And this really kind of turned their whole entire legacy into the band that did that one song. Oh gosh. Lemon by U2. That is the moment. And I even typed this when we were working on our notes, that's where U2 jumped the shark. That's when they really, kind of eschewed any kind of rock or punk or anything that they had going on and went completely the other way with it.
When you say jump the shark, is that a Fonzie reference from Happy Days?
Absolutely it is.
Okay.
And he jumped over that shark. Sure. I saw it. Didn't he do like a flip or something? Didn't get a single drop of ocean water on his jacket.
No, nothing.
No, nothing. And
that's then, because he's Fonzie and we're not.
And the series suffered greatly thereafter. Yeah, this is where U2 really began to kind of spin out of control. The tours had gotten too big, the music had gotten too big, and there was really nowhere. It's kind of like a reverse painted themselves into a corner. It's like they covered every single bit of what they were doing in their early days. That post punk, really, really great records, man. Boy is still holds up to this day. I love that album. And War.
Boy, October and War are all seminal.
October is a little bit slower. October was more of a because there's not any really standout hits on that one. Of course, Boy had I Will Follow, that is such a monster song. And then fast forward, here we are, Mephisto dancing up on stage, and yeah, exactly. Mephisto dancing on stage. Yeah, it really was where they had kind of just eschewed all of that, kind of the low-key working man aesthetic that they had. Remember, has anybody ever seen U2 live at Red Rocks?
Oh, yeah.
Back before they really became big. Oh, man, that is such a great performance to this day. They were an amazing live band. I actually got to catch them on the Zoo TV tour supporting Achtung Baby. Actually, Achtung Baby had been out for a minute, and they were kind of starting to work on some of the stuff that eventually came up on Pop, which is the album that Lemon is on. And but it seems like as soon as that album dropped and everybody kind of, and look, I actually kind of like the song a little bit. It's got a groovy little poppy little thing to it, but it's not a rock song by any stretch of the imagination whatsoever, other than it's got a little guitar chiming here and there, So yeah, not my favorite. And of course, we know what happened to U2 afterwards. Anybody that has an iPhone can chime in.
So I've got Rat, Dance, Dance, Dance.
All right.
And then I'm a big fan of Rat, and I love Rat, and I just couldn't do it, man. It's just it's just the sellout of it. That was just so slickly produced. That just wasn't what Rat was about. I mean, now they always did a good job of producing their guitars, and so you could tell how technical of a player that Warren D. Martini was and stuff like that. But Dance, I just couldn't take it, man. That's not Rat. It wasn't sleazy. It wasn't gritty. It wasn't Rat.
I got you.
Yeah. What album is it off of?
Dance.
That's the name of the album?
Yeah, it's also the title track, and it was a big MTV hit and stuff like that, I guess. But I just didn't dig it, man. I just want Rat to be climbing out of the gutter, right, trying to borrow 50 cents off from me. You know what I'm saying? They on their way to the club. That's just who they was. There was an alternative to Motley Crue. So Motley Crue's trying anything they can, right, to be whatever the flavor of the day is, and the brashest, and where Motley Crue just want to be as sleazy as hell and basically meet as many women as possible. And they just it worked for me. I thought it was good. Matter of fact, the EP of Rat was amazing. It's only got like 4 or 5 songs on it.
The first song? The first EP?
Yeah, the first EP. I'm going back.
Yeah, Back for More.
Back for More, which was also on Out of the Cellar, and I heard that the first time. I was like, man, that is killer. I said, these guys are going to do it,
Motley Crue, Without You. Terrible song, in my opinion.
Without you,
yes,
my life, something that rhymes with life. Without you, yeah, It's really, I don't know. I was tempted to also put the other Motley Crue power ballad, which is "Home Sweet Home." Yeah. But I just didn't have the heart to do it because that was such an iconic song when it dropped. For that moment, summer, every single prom, every single kid spooling around in the backseat of the car had that one, and probably some Bon Jovi coming on after it.
Oh yeah, they ruled the MTV. They had their top 5 at 5 every day, and Home Sweet Home,
and that's really what cement. If you really want to pinpoint exactly when Motley Crue became that band for the moment, it was probably that song, because that song roped the whole entire female audience. Any woman that was interested in rock and roll or that kind of lifestyle, which we all lived in that era. We know what was up. The girls were loving some Motley Crue, and that when that song dropped, oh man, so did them panties.
Oh yeah.
Without You though, I mean, I'm sure some girls were into it, but yeah, that was, again, this was, it just, I don't know. It was completely out of their character. That, give them the one ballad, that's fine, but they had some other rocking hits on that album. And then we keep rolling on, and Without You, and whatever.
I can contrast it to the ballad on Shout at the Devil. The ballad on Shout at the Devil is God Bless the Children of the Beast.
Mm-hmm.
It is a beautiful piece.
It is a beautiful piece. I love it.
It's funny. It's funny how quickly Motley Crue reeled that whole Dancing with the Devil thing that they had going on earlier in their career.
They reeled it in too quick, didn't they?
We were talking about Rolling Stones a little bit ago. That's kind of the same trajectory. Rolling Stones were, Satanic Majesty's Request, and then they suddenly become this big, massive, huge band all over the world, and they quickly dialed that back, and it became much more homogenized and much more crowd friendly for everybody, even the people that go to church.
Slow poke music off White Snake, Slip of the Tongue. And to give the story on it, so imagine that someone assembled the greatest heavy metal band in history that was possible in 1990, right? Or 89, or wherever they recorded that piece of tripe, right? We're talking Adrian Vandenberg, right? On guitar and keyboards and songwriting, right? We're talking about Stevie Vai on lead guitar and other crazy random sounds,
one of my personal favorites, by the way.
Aldridge, right? And these guys are all in the same band, and they put out some bleeding heart trap. It was just awful, man.
Yeah, the worst use of Steve Vai on a record ever, I think.
Yeah, this is the album after they had Heat of the Night and all that. And a lot of people going back to Adrian Vandenberg. I know these days he's somewhat obscure, but Adrian Vandenberg was one of the main shredders of the early '80s. You know, he was being mentioned with Rhodes and all that, and his solo career was great. I mean, Burning Heart, Wait. You ever heard a song? Wait, 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 wait till the shit hits the fan. Anyway, I love that song.
Are you talking about White Line?
I'm talking about Vandenberg. The
Okay,
group
sorry.
Vandenberg, fronted by Adrian Vandenberg. So he joins White Snake for the album during the recording of the album that had Heat of the Night on it, right? And then the next album was called Slip of the Tongue, and it was every bit of it was some kind of bleeding heart trap. And yet, I mean, if you had Stevie Vai, Adrian Vandenberg, Rudy Sarzo, and Tommy Aldridge, would you think it'd at least make an attempt to be metal? You know what I'm saying? I mean, no wonder that hair bands died.
Once Bitten, Twice Shy by Great White. I cannot fucking stand this.
Man, dude, and that one almost made my list, except there was some, I don't know, there was some conflict when I started putting my list together. So that was, if we had 12, if we could extend this playoff to 12 teams instead of 10, definitely that song would have made the top 12. No two ways around it. That is a turd of a song.
Oh, yeah, it is.
And you know, the funny thing is, you couldn't really get away with that song now, especially as far as it being very popular, even if you did it in such a way that would be, you know, modern production or something like that, because of the subject content. It's pretty sleazy.
Is it easy to hate on them because of the fire?
No, I hated this song long before that fire. Fuck that fire.
I didn't really love that song either. You know,
that song was awful. It was god awful, man. There was nothing great about it. There's nothing even good about it. It was sleazy old man when it first came out, and it was marketed to like younger people. It's crazy.
And they tried to be cool by playing the Old Hollow Body in the video, and I seen the Old Hollow Body. I said, "Oh, maybe there's something about these guys," you know. But I just realized it was
there wasn't nothing there. Vapid. They wound up killing 100 people. So we can go and bring that up now.
Oh yeah, it was awful. I hate
that was their contribution to society. So yeah, they can go fuck right off. That was in Rhode Island too, so they probably killed like half the population of the island when that happened. Because there's like 400 people that live in Rhode Island, right? 400 or 500 people.
The only state that has less people than Rhode Island is Gilligan's Island.
But that's not in America.
I'm pretty sure that didn't we annex it?
Did those natives look American to you?
Yes.
It was an island off the coast of Hawaii, right? Wasn't Gilligan's Island an island off the coast of Hawaii?
No, you're thinking of Bikini Atoll.
You are listening to the Balls Out Podcast. Make sure to give us a thumbs up, comment, share and subscribe so that you can help this podcast grow.
Number 10.
Michael Jackson's bad.
What?
That song is awful. He's trying to convince me he's bad. Hell, he wasn't even. He was like a buck.
He was bad. He played with Tim Stewart, man. That's a bad man.
If he'd walked through Gary, Indiana, where he was born, somebody would have broke him over their knee, right? I mean, it was just. Now, Michael Jackson, was he one of the greatest performers that ever lived? Absolutely, Michael Jackson was incredible. I loved him.
Unless they were 12-year-olds, then he would have bent them over his knee.
Oh yeah, that would have been special for him. But can you imagine?
Yeah, he was bad. He was bad.
Can you imagine him trying to walk through Gary, Indiana in 1988 or 89 when that song dropped?
Moonwalk through Gary, Indiana.
Number 9.
Every Rose Has Its Thorn, I thought was a popular one.
Every Rose Has Its Thorn isn't really that awful of a song, though. It's just a ballad. I mean, you know, ballads, for me, I can take them or leave them, but, you know, it's like Doug brought up Patience by Guns N' Roses. That's actually one of my favorite Guns N' Roses songs.
Number 8.
Sex on Fire by the Kings of Leon. What a big, giant, huge, massive, bombastic song to talk about whatever it is he's talking about, and then throwing in your sex is on fire. From Where I Come From, by telling a girl that her sex is on fire. Not her sex is fire, but your sex is on fire. That means you need to get your ass down to the clinic because you done burnt me and a couple of my homeboys, you dirty hoe.
Puss, drip.
So yeah, I mean, I couldn't help but crack up every single time I heard this song, and I kept waiting because everybody was throwing a big fit when this thing came out. The first, again, like a lot of the other bands that we've talked about, those first couple albums are bomb ass, man. When Kings of Leon were more of an indie rock kind of thing, just kind of our own little southern treasure down here. I believe they're from Tennessee. They were just, I mean, they were just an amazing band, a really good band to see live. That's when all the brothers were getting along. Well, they, just like Pink Floyd, you make a little money and everybody starts getting uppity. And yeah, this song is really just, oh man, it's just so much. It reminds me a lot of U2. A lot of that big bomb back, and I think a lot of the reviews that came out about it referred them to U2 because the production was just this big, grand, glorious thing about, again, nothing. Trying to create some moment that's not there, and you can't even really properly define what the moment is or what the moment's about. It's a big fucking ball of nothing. And the song moves some fucking units.
They should have made a Seinfeld episode.
Man, that song should be in and I even included this in my notes to y'all. This song should have been used for STD commercials. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that the CDC has not given them like a big pile of cash to use this in every fucking STD commercial ever for the next 50 years.
Even horse hockey.
Your sex is on fire. Go see your doctor now. Yeah.
So even horse hockey has value, but not that song. We have to agree on that.
Yeah, that song's it's gay as fuck, man. And really, again, it's another one of those songs that decimated everything they did before that and turned them into that band, the band that did that song. And you hadn't heard much from them after that. They've released several albums after that. They broke up and got back together. Who gives a fuck?
Number 7.
I'd do anything for love. An attempt to cash in on former glories by extending an album that happened many years before, produced by Todd Rundgren, and they come out with it again, trying to get their cash on. It doesn't really have quite the same impact to me, and just seems so contrived. But it's hard to follow a masterpiece. It's hard to be broke too. And Meatloaf was doing movies, TV, so on and so forth, and he's trying to stay relevant. Who could hate him for that? If you can play all the hits all the time and make a living off that, that's one thing. But every now and then you have to come out with something new. They made an attempt. I don't like it, but it's what it is.
Number 6.
Well, I mean, I hate stealing the same songs as you guys, but some of the ones that y'all picked do truly suck, and I've got to give them credit for their suckiness. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah. I'm gonna pick Superman, right? I just was that Three Doors Down?
Yeah.
The song is actually Kryptonite. Is the name of the song? It just the name Superman appears there a lot.
Yeah, it's Kryptonite, but it's Kryptonite. That's right. Anyway, I just can't take that song. I mean, that's why I don't even give enough regard to remember the name of it. It seems so contrived, right? And it's another one of them songs where since they tuned to drop D and they don't have any personality, that just sounds like every other drop D tune ever put out.
I actually wrote in my description, Superman dash whatever 90s band did that suck ass song about nothing. Because it really is. It is such a just typical 90s vapid alternative rock, stamp it and move some units. They were probably the biggest band to ever come out of Mississippi. Anybody want to challenge me on that? Bands, not individual performers, because Tupelo's got a claim on Elvis.
And maybe Robert Johnson came out of there. I'm not sure.
But I can't think of another band that actually made it to the big leagues and actually had a hit song on any kind of format whatsoever. Ever.
From Mississippi.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. Maybe just based on that alone. I mean, maybe what do you think that was? A record industry throwing Mississippi a bone?
Maybe.
We'll just pull some random ass band that plays in drop D tuning and throw them on the radio. We'll just kind of tell them what to look like and what to say and this, that, and the other. We'll squeeze the song out of them. Mississippi gets a win.
That'd be a Pat Beato, right? Y'all ever see that guy, Rick Beato, right? So this is a Rick Beato kind of contrived kind of band, right? So he goes on and he does give you a lot of insider tips on his YouTube videos, and I do watch them, right? But when he goes on about the kind of music he's produced and he doesn't understand why it don't make it, is because he don't understand that whiny drop D-tune stuff where you're whining about your girlfriend and your parents, right, is not rock and roll. Nobody wants to pay no money for it.
Well, I mean, they already did that. We've already been there. You got to keep moving, you know? You
Yes.
can't really stay there and do that now. Otherwise, you're going to get lumped into the other myriad of bands that still do that.
Number 5.
We're going to go ahead and start throwing stones at the Giants. Dire Maker by Led Zeppelin. What a goofy motherfucking song. Now, look, the song sounds great. There's actually some really cool sounds going on in the song. But let's just start with the actual name of the song to begin with, which makes no sense whatsoever other than, and this is according to band mythology, is named Dire Maker because it kind of sounds like Jamaica somehow. Jamaica.
Dear Maker.
Yeah, whatever, man. Fuck that song. First off,
Def Leppard did the same thing with Armageddon, which
Dire
Maker was definitely a better.
But that has nothing to do with cultural misappropriation too. I mean, the Armageddon's going to happen to all of us. The song is. You know what it really reminds me of, and I didn't even think of it until it popped up on the YouTube feed the other day. Paul Simon's "Call Me Al." It is in the same exact vein as that. There's some really good musicianship going on in the song, but it's vapid and just dumb as fuck. So yeah, Dire Maker is equal to "Call Me Al" by Paul Simon. I said it. I know it's going to be a hot take. Everybody's going to be pissed off about it. I don't fucking care.
I'm willing to bet that Robert disagrees with you on this one.
Well, as a person who's played a lot of drums, I just love the damn drums in that song, and I don't pay no attention.
The music's fucking awesome, man. There's great stuff going on all throughout. Even the little Caribbean thing they got, little Caribbean flourishes they've got throughout the song. I love it, man. John Paul Jones is really just an amazing, paint the corners kind of guy, kind of like Brian Jones with the Stones.
So he comes in, he goes, when they get in that Caribbean part and they leave it and transition back to the main thing, he does like a little rolling thing that's just on the drums. It's just anyway, it's just so, I'm like, wow, I'm like, it's just mind boggling to me. So I don't even never really pay attention to what he had to say on it, to be honest with you, because it was nonsense.
Number 4.
I'm throwing in Kiss Forever from the 1989 album Hot in the Shade. Big steamy piece of shit. I think it got as high as 8th, maybe. It was too damn high.
Yeah.
And that was on the pop chart.
That's a lot of money.
It was awful, man. I couldn't hardly take it. I mean, it was bad. Like I said, in the 1990, 91, see, one of the things about being away from home where there ain't no American radio and stuff. You come home, you find out what you missed. It's like, God damn, people bought that. You know what I mean?
You didn't, you found out you didn't miss much, right?
Number 3.
All right. So I'm going after Whitesnake on this one. It wasn't the biggest song from the album, but it was definitely the most irritating to me. Is This Love?
Is this love?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's awful.
I don't really know what else to say about it. It was irritating. I typically turned it as quickly as I could. And and they really did. To me, they seemed to come out of nowhere. I didn't even know who they were when they hit really big, and I think it was '87. I know that they go back to the late '70s.
Yeah, they've had a storied career across the pond. And when they came here, they were a completely different band.
Coverdale, legendary vocalist who sang for Deep Purple after Ian Gillan left. Some really good stuff with Deep Purple.
They had Slow and Easy. That was a hell of a song that charted over here before then, and they hit Slide It In was a good album. But yeah, you're pretty much right. It really broke him from being like a second tier opening act kind of thing to being a world superstar.
Number 2.
I
Shannon?
know that this is going to be on other people's list, but I had to make sure that it made the list because this is an absolute fucking turd of a song. I won't go any further because I have a feeling it might be on somebody else's list, and that is Pour Some Sugar on Me by Def Leppard. That's all I'm going to say about that. Again, when that song dropped, I don't know what it made people dance. I saw people dance to the song on that. I remember the TV show, Doug, where they had and I don't know if you had moved here yet. I think Channel 6 did it, where they had one of the area dance clubs. I think it was a circuit or something like that, where they would do an all ages thing where the kids could come in and dance, and they would basically just film the kids dancing to this music, and you could watch it for like a half hour, hour, or whatever it was.
Love
And
is like a bomb, baby. Come and get it on. Yeah.
I saw girls with hair that was 4-5 foot high, Aquanet, had like 3-4 cans of Aquanet, held this gorgeous mane in place, just rocking their ass off to this song.
They had to be careful when they lit their Marlboro Light so that mess didn't catch on fire, you know?
Yeah, you had to be really careful. There was a certain art to it that Southern women have learned long back when men allowed them to smoke. And yeah, just watching a Southern woman with a giant, massive coif like that has so much flammable liquid in it, be able to carefully light that cigarette, and use 9 times out of 10, because you have to have it so far away, you still have to have a good sizable flame. So the woman that has practiced this to an art is almost terrifying and extremely sensual when she lights that cigarette. It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Pour Some Sugar on Me. Piece of shit.
Number 1.
Warrant, Cherry Pie. I feel it's one of the worst songs ever. I just hate Warrant.
Here,
I
here.
hate pop metal. I just can't do it. I mean, it just wasn't good to me, man. I mean, I really, it was so bad, it made me think that AC/DC flipping the switch, man. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Right? And they, I just had, when I heard it the first time, I had to go to my old records and pull out It's a Long Way to the Top If You Want to Rock and Roll so I could recover from it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that's how bad I hate that song. I really dislike it, guys.
It's
You find
a
that
piece of
unreasonable?
shit. A flaming piece of shit. The little blonde headed girl, which I believe, didn't she wind up like hooking up with what's his name? Jamie Lynn, whatever his name is. Jamie
I have
Lynn,
no
that's a
doubt.
porn star, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
He did have a
She was-
built-in porn star name, but it was like a girl's porn star name. That was so weird. I mean, it was no comparison for me. This was an easy number 1, and that was Warrant's Cherry Pie. And the reason being is it actually comes from their own VH1's Behind the Music. You remember those? Remember those? Remember that
Yeah.
great show? Oh, those were great, man. I really, of course, that was pre-YouTube. Now we can pull up anything we could ever imagine about a band, and no matter how obscure, and watch something on it for hours and hours. Out of their own admission, I believe it was Jamie Lane or whatever his name is. Basically his own admission saying that he went in there 1 month and they had the big giant cherry pie poster up there, and they come in like a couple weeks later, and I think they had replaced it with either Nirvana's Nevermind, or it may have even been pre that. It may have been Alice in Chains Facelift. I can't remember exactly when Cherry Pie was dropped. You know, there's been a lot of drinking happened between then and now.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
a turd. It is an absolute turd of a song, and it really,
It is.
I think it was because if you think about it, it was later on for hair metal. So I would say that would have dropped in 89 or 90.
Yeah, it was.
So that would have
Uh, I think it was 91, to be honest.
Oh yeah. So if it was 91, then that may have very well been
Still the deal.
Nirvana's Nevermind was the poster that he came in and saw, or it may have been Alice in Chains Dirt.
It may have dropped at 90, but it was still kind of lingering a little bit in 91, I believe.
But that song right there was lingering, and it was an awful parody of a really not that great of a band to begin with. I mean, Warrant had a couple moments here and there. Don't get me wrong, but that one right there, that song is so fucking abrasively cheesy.